Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be painting for you a winter treescape. It's a Gelli print and it's only one pull. I grew up in the UK. I can remember going on those weekend country walks with Mum and Dad. It was really chilly and the ground was quite icy, and we really loved the crunch under our feet and just enjoy getting out to that really frosty air. Anyway, I hope you enjoy watching it and have some memories of your own. And here we go. Let's start painting. Today I'm only using 3 colours in Liquitex Basics, Prussian blue hue, burnt umber and titanium white. You'll also need some Liquitex matte medium or any other brand will do. You'll need some Brayers and also a Gelli plate. A palette knife would be handy, or something to mix your paints, and of course a palette, or here I'm using an ice cream lid. Works just as well, and it helps us to reuse and recycle. I've rolled this small brayer through the titanium white just on the left hand side. I've made sure that the paint goes all the way around the brayer. When I'm rollering onto the Gelli plate, the right hand side of the brayer is actually not touching the plate. So the brayer is actually working at a slight angle. Here I'm putting the first coat down for the trees. I do like odd numbers, so 3, 5, 7s. They always seem to work better. So here I've got 3 on one side and 2 on the other. And I've left a slight gap in the middle for a pathway. Here I'm using a plastic palette knife, much better than the metal ones, less chance of damaging your plate. Here you'll just notice that I'm side loading the palette knife just along the edge, picking up a little bit of paint, and I'm just adding some little filler trees. So these trees will appear quite in the distance once this painting is finished. I'm still keeping that gap towards the centre because I want an appearance of a pathway going through the trees. So you just slide that palette knife along and you'll get a nice line, and just pulling it to the side if you want your tree to be a little bit thicker. Here I'm just tidying up the edges of some of those bigger trees. So here I'm just tidying up some of those edges, adding more texture if I think that the tree needs that little bit more texture. I don't want to cover every little bit with an even coat. I do want a variation of tones on the trees. I'm just speeding it up here for you so that we can just fly through this a little bit. Here I'm picking up a little bit more of the titanium white and just dragging it along the bottom of the painting, coming up into the pathway a little bit. Just skimming it, and here I'm crumpling some tissue paper. It's actually wet strength tissue paper, like a greaseproof paper, and just dragging that across too. This will give an indication of a frosty ground or snow on the ground. Make sure it just fades away as you come up to the center of the painting. Here I'm putting out some Liquitex Basics in the burnt umber and the same amount in the Prussian blue hue. Then I'm going to gently mix them together, but not over mixing them. Again, I'm taking a side load on the left hand side of the roller, making sure that the paint goes all the way around the roller. See, I'm spinning it just to show you. And then again, using the roller at an angle, we're going to just retrace over the white trees that we made earlier. Now don't worry if it's not perfect. These trees are trees. They're out in the bush. They haven't got straight trunks. They're wobbly. They've got bits hanging off them. We're looking for a nice rustic tree. And see, when you use the roller, you're getting some lovely marks that look like bark that will be showing through the white paint that we put on earlier. What we're doing actually is reverse painting. That's the correct term for it, reverse painting. Now remember, trees are a little bit fatter at the bottom and they get a little bit finer or tapered towards the top. Just trying to follow the same line that we painted earlier. You might want to, on those finer trees, use your brayer at a stronger angle, and so that you're just getting the edge of the brayer touching the tree. I've cleaned the excess paint off the brayer by rollering it on the paper at the side of the painting. Now I'm very gently touching the jelly plate and just adding some darker colours at the base of the tree. We don't want it too heavy, just a little bit textured. And what that does, it just grounds the trees. Here I'm using a script liner, or a rigger as some people call it. It's a brush with very long bristles and it enables you to paint long, thinner lines. Now you do have to add a little bit of water to your paint to do this, just to make it not quite so thick. And just using the tip of the brush, pulling out some branches. You'll notice that I'm using the brush by holding the handle further towards the top. By using the brush in this way, it definitely gives you less control and makes your lines a lot looser. Here I'm using Liquitex Matte Medium, and this is to make the paint more transparent. I'm just adding a tiny little bit of the paint that I was using, the mixture of burnt umber and the Prussian blue hue. I'm just adding that to the matte medium. And you will see when I start to put it on the painting how transparent it is. Just using the palette knife and gently working it into those edges. Now we don't want this colour to come all the way to the middle except at the top. It is transparent, and you'll see when we pull the print how transparent it is. And it's just a gentle fluffing with the palette knife, just to give a little bit of texture to this artwork. Now I'm putting some titanium white in the center of the painting. The blue color with the gel medium is still wet. I'm rollering that white up the center first because I do want that center path to be nice and white. And then I'm pulling the color over the top and covering the whole painting with a titanium white. It doesn't need to be really smooth. It can be a little bit textured, that's fine. Just adding a little bit more white here. I just felt that I was a little bit light on at the top end of this painting because I am going to do the pull here. So you need a nice wet coat. I'm going to use a deli paper. In Australia we call it a greaseproof paper. It's very strong and it has two sides. It's got a shiny side and a dull side. Make sure the dull side goes on top of the paint and the shiny side is facing up. Press down with your hands, smoothing out the paper. Don't worry too much about the creases. You can use any paper that you prefer. Smoother papers are better for jelly printing. Copy paper works brilliantly and is very cheap. Here I used a cool hairdryer to dry off the paint. You can, if you like, just leave that print on there for 10-15 minutes or even overnight and then pull it. I'm just loading the script liner in the blue-brown mix that we made earlier and just tipping it in a little bit of white. I'm sorry my hand is obscuring what I'm doing here, and in a moment I've kind of realized that, and I'm making an effort to hold my hand sideways so that you can see my brush strokes. Again, just using that brush by holding the handle at the top end, not too close to the bristles, and that way you'll do much looser strokes and they'll be much more believable, the branches. With what's left on the brush, I'm just adding some texture to the base of the trees. Just using the brush in a skimming motion and just adding those darker tones just to ground those trees. Here I'm picking up just some of the titanium white on the dirty brush and just highlighting some of those branches. Just a little touch here and there. Now you must be conscious of what trees are in front and what trees are behind, just to make sure that any trees in front, the branches actually don't go behind, a tree that's sitting further back. It's very intuitive and very expressive, these paintings, and I really hope that you have enjoyed watching the video. I'm just adding some grasses here. For those thinner, finer strokes, you may need to add a little bit of water to your paint. It'll move along a little bit easier for those thin strokes. Here I'm taking a little bit of titanium white and adding some water to it to give myself quite a runny mixture. I'm going to do some splattering on the painting. I like to do that in these treescapes. It gives the painting a little bit of movement. It could be snow if you wanted it to be, or just a little bit of texture brings the painting alive. Again, I'm going to repeat this with the darker colours, especially down near the grasses at the bottom of the painting. Just finishing off now. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. I'm really trying to grow my channel and would really appreciate a thumbs up, hitting that subscribe button and pressing that bell so that you'll get notifications of my future videos. Thank you for watching.